Good afternoon everyone. Today we're going to be looking at essentially a deep dive into the Greenwich Masters Grand Complication. It's also the 30th of March, which means it's the officially the start of British summertime. So I'm also going to be sort of setting the time and showing you how that we set all these little individual dials on here. If you can't find a manual online, you should be able to, but I'll just give you a sort of a visual guide of it being done really. So yeah, let's get on, just have a little talk about the watch in a bit more depth. So just briefly going over those specifications, it is a sort of, it's one of the true sort of Grand Complication quartz. Only 2,000 of them were made. Operates on a very unique movement, so it's a Citizen Caliber 6770 quartz movement, which was also used in the high-end watches such as Citizen Campanola series, and celebrated for its precision and versatility. The actual historical connection with this, back in sort of 1997, Accurist sort of partnered up really with the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, and that's this timepiece sort of highlights that connection. There's lots of different colours. You can get it in silver, you can get it with like a different style casing, different style strap as well. This isn't the actual strap it would come on. I've just put it on a sort of a simple brown strap, because before it just had a plain sort of gold one, and I wanted to put on a bit more of a classic leather brown strap. What makes it a Grand Complication is the fact that it boasts a actual perpetual calendar. So you've got all of the perpetual calendar dials on there with a Moonphase and a chronograph. That makes it a true Grand Complication in the world of quartz watches. Have a little brief look at the sort of the casing here. So you go, that's the actual markings on the back of it. I've never got this item valued. I'm not sure what the sort of the auction value is in the UK for this particular watch. But I have no intention of selling it really. It's a good piece of history, I think. As a British citizen personally, I feel like I want to keep it really. So the actual accuracy of the quartz movement is accurate, so within plus or minus 20 seconds per month. That's the sort of quoted average, but this is probably more accurate than most watches I've got. This is a fairly modern sort of Tissot Pepsi with a fairly decent quartz movement inside, but this gains time more than this does, or loses time more than this does. This probably loses or gains maybe 5-10 seconds over the course of say 6 months. It's such a good accurate watch. It's hard to sort of really fault it, to be fair. I find myself really often wearing it. Also the climate, so the British climate is probably sits with the ideal range to work this watch. It shouldn't be used under a temperature of -10 degrees or above 60, so nothing too hot, nowhere too cold. Just a summary of the actual function you get with this watch. Obviously you get a time in hours, minutes, seconds, and a 24-hour clock. You get the calendar in the full year, month, date, day and moon age format, with a chronograph in a 12-hour time measurement, quarter-second units, split time measurement function as well. We're going to be looking at sort of how we set the actual basic dials. I'm not going to use the chime function, I don't use it myself, but we're just going to go have a little look at how we set the actual diamond time and all these sort of dials here, how we basically get the basic use out of it. The additional features you get are calendar leap year and monthly correction function. You get moon age graphic wheel function on the top there, chime function as I just said, reference position failure alarm. So when you first get this watch, you have to set the reference position. This essentially sets the whole watch up so that it's essentially like it's brand new, and then you go and set the time from there. So you actually have to set the reference position before you go and do this, but I'm not going to do that, and you might not need to as well, because most of the time you'll probably be buying this second hand now if you're trying to get hold of this watch. It'll probably be bought second hand. If they've reset it for you, then they've probably done that for you already. So I'm not going to discuss that today. It uses a SR927W battery that gives a approximate battery life of about 2 years. It's got sapphire crystals with a sort of a slight dome effect, as you can see here. Obviously, 3 main buttons. They are labelled, I think it's BC, I can't remember which way around, but for today's purpose, we're just going to name it A, B and C, with the crown being obviously the crown. You've also got the moon adjustment button inside there, so we need a little pencil or pen to be able to access that feature. So we're going to go on to how we actually set the time now and set the little dials up. So the way in which you should do this, really, in my experience of having this watch, is to set the sort of the time last, really. So we're probably going to go around and set these other dials first. So we're going to start with setting the date. So to actually set the date, obviously push that crown into where it's default position with the ticking going along, and we're going to pull that out to just the first position, just like so. And then to correct the date, you're going to use this button here, the one on the left-hand side of the watch. And that moves that dial around just like so. So it's the 30th today. I'm going to set that to the 30th. There we go. So again, also in position 1, we're going to use the buttons A and B to set the month and the leap year. So the leap year, we're currently in a... So 2024 was a leap year, so we're in a 2025 year now, obviously. So you can see a little dial down here. So leap year, and it counts it out for you. So leap year would be the 24, 2025 would be the +1, 2026 would be the +2, and so on. But yeah, we know that the leap year is 2024. If you don't know, you can look it up on the internet or something like that. If you don't know. The one that indicates the leap year is in fact a slightly smaller hand there. It's anything with this watch, it's not always clear. When you're looking at the dials, you can find yourself looking at the wrong hand to figure out the month, for example, or the date. But this one is already on the +1. But we can just for completeness, we're going to show you how we're going to move that around. So here we go. I'm going to use button A for now. Button A returns the date backwards. So button B will turn it forwards. So you notice when this gets around to January that the leap year will jump. As you can see, it jumps around to that +2. So this would be like you're in 2026, but we're in 2025. So we're going to go, so 2024 was a leap year, so 2025 would be the +1. So we're going to go around to that +1 setting. We'll go all the way around. You can hold the buttons down as well. That does like a fast search, goes all the way through. There's not many rotations you need to do for this, so I need to get into the 2024 as well. So this is 2024. And then finally, 2025. So March 2025 we want. We're going to go one more year. So now we're in the new year. Because that December and then February, so that's Jan in the middle there. So Feb and March. So that's all set. So you can push this back in if you want to, or you can just take it straight out to the second position. So let's take out the second position, pull that out. This will reset, don't worry about that, that will reset back to how it should be, provided you've got the reference position all set up. So, we're not going to set the time just, well, we can set the time, but we're not going to set the time just yet, but we're going to use the second position to change the actual, the day that we're on. You can see just in this left-hand side dial here. So this is the only way we're going to do this, actually. So we're on Sunday at the moment. So literally the only way to adjust this is to, I think this is the only way to adjust it, because I did try playing about with it. The only way to adjust it is to just rotate the hands around until you get a change. And you can see that left-hand side dial now is going to snap round to the Wednesday. So you're going to go all the way around to the Sunday. Talk amongst yourself, you can speed this up, but I'm not going to speed it up in the edit. I don't edit my videos, I just do them straight out. Right, Saturday. Now this is what you can be very careful with. You've got to, when you're setting the time, you must really take note of the 24-hour format. So the 24-hour format you're going to be looking at is on the right-hand side. So it's currently near enough 6 o'clock in the evening. So you're going to be looking for this at the 18-hour here. Yeah. So say if you're in the morning, say if it's 10 o'clock in the morning, you'd want this to be basically in 24-hour format. What is it in 24-hour format? So let's keep going around. What we're on Sunday at the moment. So we'll keep going around. It's taking a bit of time. You can fast forward this if you want to. So that's going to snap round to Sunday. And now, so that's Sunday morning now. As you can see, that's that was set at the 24. So we're now going to go through to, it's now 6 o'clock at night, so we're going to go all the way around. Again, checking that right hand side dial, that little smaller hand, just to check on the 24-hour format. So we're now at near enough lunchtime, and it's now near enough, what is it actually? It's 5:52. 5:52 and a half. 5:52 and a half, about there. And you will notice from doing that the moon dial in the top has also changed. So, push that back in. And there you go, that your date dial has got, well, your leap year month calendar has gone back to normal. And that's all set up. So now, if you want to adjust that moon phase, you can look up the moon phase for the day. You will need a little pen or a pencil. And then we will. So this is this little in here, this little button in here. I'm not sure on how many movements there are to the moon age. Every full moon, obviously, it does it every number of movements, every number of cycles. Essentially, you got all these sort of the waxing crescent, waning, etc. But it's got like a number of movements. I'm just going to have a little check of what that is now and carry on. Yeah, to think that was right. So I've just had a little check. There is sort of 31 different phases, individual phases for this particular watch. So there should be so say if this moon was at full moon in the middle here, this moon would be right in the middle of this dial if it was in full moon. So it would take 31 clicks for it to go all the way around and then get back to this. So what you need to do is you can use this guide as well. You can use this as a guide as a help. I'll show you it in a second. Yeah, I highly recommend this website for it. It's quite a useful thing. So set this to the full moon. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to set that to the full moon. And then, so you'll notice this, so this button in here should be based on 31 clicks. You can, so it's like the crown. You've got two positions of the click. You can push it in slightly deep. That's one click, and you push it even further, and that's your second one. So you can do two at once if you want to. So you can push it in once and keep pushing it to do two movements. So we'll just do that now. And try and get the angle right so you can see it. So there. It's a very delicate thing putting it in there. Is that in the middle? No, not quite. There you go. So that's in the middle now. So you can set in the middle, and you can use this guide to tell you if we're in a how many clicks you need to go past this. Yeah. So I'm going to